Your boy Uncle Fred. I'm back again in the saddle. And look who I got with me. I got my main man TK. And you know what we about to do. We about to tackle this week 7 NFL docket. And we're gonna tell you what we think about that. TK, man, how you doing, man? We good today?
Excellent, excellent.
Right.
Fred, let's get to it, man. Let's pick some games. And yeah, football Sunday is on the way.
Football Sunday on the way. Be right back in a second, man, for this week 7 pick'ems. What's good, people? Once again, Uncle Fred back in the house. My main man TK. We're gonna hit these pick'ems, man. We saw some stuff last week. We saw 2 major, colossal upsets last week. Nothing that we saw that we thought we would see. We picked on our own last week. We didn't go live. We did. We do. Y'all may not know, but me and TK do a pick'em show every week. It's just not always aired.
Yeah.
We always doing a pick'em show. It's just not always aired. It's not always for public consumption. So we just happen to get back on, right back on. We're gonna try to do this every week. But we saw some stuff last week, and there's a couple of games nobody saw San Francisco and Cleveland and Philadelphia and the Jets and that sort of stuff. But pretty much everything else kind of went according to the script, pretty much. So we got a few games. This week is a couple of I call 4-star and 5-star games this week that we're gonna try to get to. And so man, let's just go ahead and get to it, man. So we'll see what we got. All right. So the first game, and if you look on the docket, man, I got it slated and separated by 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock game. So got about 7 or 8 12 o'clock game. So the first game we're gonna look at is the the Cleveland Browns at the Indianapolis Colts. Interesting game because Cleveland coming off that colossal upset, probably the biggest upset in the NFL this year. I think they was a 12-point underdog. They won by what, 3? I think 2, 3. What was it? It was it?
I think they won by 3.
Yeah, yeah. And we still not gonna have Deshaun Watson. But the Colts are not gonna have Richardson, who we found out this week. Both of them got shoulder deals, and they're gonna sit him for the rest of the season. I didn't think it was a shock because I had been hearing rumblings about that, but then I've been hearing other people say it's gonna be about a 4-week thing or whatever. But then they decided to go ahead and shelf him, which is disappointing because I kind of want to see the kid play. He was starting to kind of figure some stuff out, and I was kind of wanting to see what that looked like, and so we're gonna have to put that on the shelf until next year. And so you got the Colts, who actually are playing pretty good, but they got Gardner Minshew, who kind of didn't play that well last week. Like he threw like 3 picks, threw the ball like 50 times. And if certain dudes, man, if you put the ball in his hand that many times, man, you kind of like expecting, I don't know what you was looking to happen, but they end up losing. And so you got the Browns. So this is going to be a kind of an even game. Browns got a strong defense. As the 49ers found out, I know they had injuries that kind of aided in their success, but the Cleveland Browns defense don't back up to nobody. They're a top 5, top 3 unit. Their front 7 is as good as anybody's, and they're pretty good on the back end too with Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. They're pretty good back there too. So they're a good unit. So I don't like the coach chances with Minshew with that opportunistic defense. So even though I know Cleveland got issues offensively, I think the defense is going to force a couple of turnovers, and that'll probably be the difference in the game. Cleveland is favored by 3.5. They're playing at Cleveland. I probably will go with the Browns.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm definitely going as well. They're playing at home. I think the Colts defense has, weeks where they're pretty stout and they compete really well, but I know they struggled last week with Jacksonville's firepower. And this game kind of gives me more of a tune of a lot of field goals,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of smash mouth run the football from both sides. The coach probably try to get Jonathan Taylor established this week as he settles into his,
Right.
into his feature back role. They also have Zach Black, really well, really great in his place to this point. So a lot of running the football, not too much down the field. Field goals, close game. I think they both keep it close, and I just go with the home team by a field goal, just because I don't know what to expect other than a vanilla type of football game, man. I don't know. I think both teams may attempt to try and make plays down the field, and we can see turnovers. We can see second half adjustments. Okay, let's keep it basic. So it's kind of gives me that feel. One of those type of games.
Yeah. You said something earlier. I think it's going to be a bunch of field goals in this game. A bunch of field goals. I think if you play the fantasy, man, you probably would want to start them kickers, both of these kickers, because they're going to be getting a workout. Because I can see a lot of drives stalling at the 38, at the 32-yard line. I can see a lot of them in this game. Backup quarterbacks going against strong defenses. So, but we both got the Browns, and I think they probably win it by a late field goal. I think it too. That's probably not a game I would really want to watch, but you might like defense. You might like hard hitting defense in 3 yards and 2.5 yards in a cloud of dust. You might like that kind of thing. So
something good for everybody.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, now speaking of snoozers,
wow.
Our next game, if you look on the docket, it's going to be the Buffalo Bills at the New England Patriots. Look, man, the Buffalo Bills, I would not want to play the Buffalo Bills this week after how they played against the Giants last week. A game that really the Giants probably should have won because they was at the 1-yard line at both ends of both halves and came away with no points on either one of those drives. That can't happen. That's the thing that that could get coaches fired right there. You can't do that. That can't happen, right? And how you see stuff like that happen, and I'm kind of. Everybody knows I'm a Cowboy fan, so everything's like a 6 degree of separation. It's like, oh, that if you turn this way, it's going to affect the Cowboys. If you looked at the game they played on Monday night, you will see like before the half, you see like Mike McCarthy, wasting like 15 seconds and just settling for a field goal. You have to think seeing what the Giants did on the night before, squandering 2 opportunities at the 1-yard line, nonetheless, and getting no points, and kind of like making you think, to do that sort of thing. So the Bills got off kind of lucky because they played 5 or 6 levels below their capabilities. And usually a team of that level, when they play the next week, especially if they're playing somebody that's look, man, I hate to call a team that's as decorated as the Patriots a garbage unit, but that's a garbage unit. And I respect Bill Belichick and his mind and what he's been able to do. But man, that is not a good football team. That is not a good football team. I know they're playing at Foxborough. They're playing at Gillette Stadium. I know all that stuff, man. But that is not a good football team. And you playing a team that won a game that they know they played their D- game and still won. They're like, oh, yeah, they're finna dot every I and cross every T. Man, this game might be over with after the first quarter. I got the Bills, man. By not even close.
Yeah, the Patriots, they're not a good team, to your point, this year. They struggle immensely with moving the football and just being creative on offense in general. You know, it's the state of affairs in New England right now. So,
Yeah.
as much as I want to put respect on Bill's pedigree and everything, I don't see this. I don't see this being a close game. Let's put it like that.
No, I don't see it. And then you start looking at the injury report. I mean, you know, they already got Matthew Judon out. You got Christian Gonzalez out. Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of other guys that they got. A whole bunch of guys that's doubtful. In addition to them not being a good team, even their best players aren't there. So you just don't see no relief in sight for that team. You know, I just don't see it, man. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. The thing I don't like, I hate the most about that is that you see a player like Mac Jones actually regressing, man. He's actually becoming like, I mean, we almost could be like seeing the end of no, you hate to say something the third year in of a guy, might be playing himself out of the league, but you get benched in 2 consecutive games and didn't score, and then you know you took a sack and took a safety last week against the Raiders, and it wasn't good. Through a couple of bad picks, and they I always kind of like Mac Jones. No, he's a Tider. I roll with the Tide dudes, but
Yeah, it's rough.
it's real rough, real rough.
It's rough, and if there is some type of medicine for their season, it certainly won't be tomorrow.
No,
So, yeah.
not gonna happen tomorrow. So I mean, they may salvage 5 or 6 wins out this season, but one of them ain't coming tomorrow. So we both got the Bills by a lot, and so we're gonna see how that goes. Okay, next. Kind of an interesting game. It's a divisional game. You got the Commanders at the Giants. Look, the Giants are kind of surprised me last week. They played they played a good game. A game that some things that bounced their way they could have easily won. And they're playing the Commanders, a divisional opponent. Washington's a team that's kind of interesting to me because they now I was listening to some to the pundits, and they were talking about Sam Howell, and they say he's a guy that they kind of like, but the dude gets sacked more. He's on the pace to get sacked more than like David Carr, right? Because he holds the ball a lot. But it's interesting. But the Commanders have like the ninth best pass defense. I mean pass rush. Pass protection grade or whatever, those people that grade that kind of stuff. So there's 2 things that don't math together. You got a guy that holds the ball and he takes a lot of sacks, but then the pass protection grade is and then the top 10 kind of seems like that shouldn't go together. Kind of like Tua having the deepest pass throwing attempts, but then he gets the ball out in 2 seconds. Them don't supposed to be together, So I don't know. The Giants are kind of a bad unit. They've had some bad injuries, with Andrew Thomas, who they gave a lot of money to, and is not really playing. And my man, what's my man's name? Played at Bama. He's been kind of a disappointment, man. I think he's on the injury report this week too. As a matter of fact, I think he's on the injury report. What is his name? You know, I mean names. The Alabama kid from plays right tackle, huh?
Oh,
Evan Neal, Evan Neal.
okay.
Yeah, he's not playing that well. And they got Saquon back. Saquon's made a statement that he doesn't want to be traded. You know, I have heard. You know, we got the trade deadline coming up next week, so that's been tossed around. He said that he didn't want to be traded. You know, he's such a trooper, man. But shoot, man, you better somebody just a contender wants you, man. Is going to give you decent money, man. You better look. You better look to that. You know, not capping for these teams that ain't really got your best interest at heart, So I don't know about that. But anyway, caping for, not capping for, caping for, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I got the Commanders, I guess. The line is the Commanders by 3. So I guess I'll go with the Commanders by 3, I guess. I don't know if Daniel Jones is playing this week. I don't know if
I was going to ask, is Daniel Jones in or out?
Let's see. I can tell you here in just a second. The injury reports is this. It tells me that Daniel Jones is questionable. Evan Neal is questionable.
Kind of feels like to me Daniel Jones might be in. If they're not listing him as just out,
right?
Questionable. Kind of lean towards him actually playing tomorrow.
Interestingly enough, the Commanders have no injured players to report. Interesting.
Healthy squad. Okay, I'm going Commanders. I always was.
Yeah.
I think their offense has more upside to make explosive plays.
Mm-hmm.
They're capable of doing that, and the Giants kind of have to play a certain way to stay in games or win games.
Right. Right.
If they can keep the Commanders in that wheelhouse, then yeah, they have a shot. But I just think, Sam Howell's ability to go over the top with the dynamic playmakers he does have at his disposal. Excuse me. I mean, Scary Terry, De'Ami Brown, Jahan
Dotson. Yeah.
It's a lot to, it's a lot of field to cover when those guys are out there. And they can just put it together and put together, 2 or 3 big plays and a couple touchdown drives. It may be enough. So,
yeah.
It's a division game for you. You kind of don't care who wins.
Can they both lose? Can they both lose?
Right.
Oh no, I guess not.
I'll definitely just go Commanders, man. It's like a safe pick, I guess.
It's a safe pick, but this is a game that my guy Kayvon Thibodeau, man, because he's kind of like because I've been listening to some of the guys, PFF and stuff like that. His pass rushing grade has not been good. He's a guy that kind of came in with a lot of promise because I saw him at Oregon. He was like a dude, like, yeah, man, that dude, he gonna wreak havoc on that edge, man. And he kind of got like a 40-something grade for pass rushing, and and you got a quarterback that holds the ball a lot, man. This might be a game, man. If it was a game for you to wake up and kind of like, hey, let me make an impact on this defense, and maybe I can force him into a couple of turnovers. This would be the game to do it. But that don't change my pick. I'm still going Commanders. So.
Yeah, I don't know what I know those guys come up with their stats or whatnot. I've seen a couple games where he's popped off the screen, because the Giants have been national TV
almost every week.
Yeah. So I've had the opportunity to actually see him, and he has moments where he pops off the screen, man. So whatever the totality of his grades are for a full game, whatever, but.
Right.
The talent and ability is there. I've seen him make plays, and he's capable. So
he's talented. He's very talented. He's very talented.
Yeah,
he's one of my guys. I'm like, Kayvon can do that, man. But Yeah, it just hadn't all around clicked for him. But this might be the game it might get unlocked. So we'll see. We'll see. But I still got the Commanders, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Now, here comes one of our 4-star games, man. And I'm still not sure which way I'm picking, but I'm going to talk about it. You got the Lions at the Ravens. Now, that's a game right there, man. That is a game. That's why I got a star by it in the thing. That's a game right there. You got the Detroit Lions going to Baltimore to play the Ravens. And the Detroit Lions last week when they played the Buccaneers, it was a game that really I was surprised, not surprised in the outcome. I'm surprised in how they went about winning it because they couldn't run the ball a lick. And they got Jared Goff to throw the ball like 40, 50 times. And they won the game that way. And I would have never thought that they would be able to win a game against Tampa because Tampa's defense is pretty good. Their defense is pretty good. David is still there. Vita Vea is still there. Okay, Devin White is still there. Them guys are still there, right? From the Super Bowl year, a few years back. So I mean, their defense never went anywhere, right? So I would figure if you force that team to throw it, 45, 50 times, you would that's Jared Goff, and it's not like Patrick or it's not like Joe Burrow or one of those dudes or whatever. You might like your chances. But they was able to win that game with him throwing the ball a lot of times, the run game not be that successful. Okay, so they're going to Baltimore and they're going to have the same thing because Baltimore is a top 10 defensive unit as well, and they're playing very, very well. Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen linebackers. They're you're not going to just line up and run the ball on them. Okay. But one of the things that's been interesting about the Ravens, though, is they kind of have been shooting themselves in the foot when it comes to scoring because I watched the game last week when they played the Titans over in across the pond, and they couldn't get in the end zone a lot. It was like a lot of field goals, man. It's like, but interestingly enough, man, as I've read and listened to a lot of things with the overall scope of the NFL, scoring is down all across the league. It isn't just this team or that team. It's kind of like scoring is down. So I don't know if defensive have made a concerted effort to play like umbrella coverages or something like that, making teams, nickel and dime their way down, and then they tighten up when they get into the red zone. And of course, those zones are a lot smaller once you get down inside the 20. There's not a lot of room to stick tight balls into. So I don't know if the Ravens are suffering from what the rest of the league is suffering from or not. It could be that Lamar's having a new offensive coordinator with Todd Monken coming from Georgia. It doesn't have Greg Roman, who he's had almost the entire time he's been in Baltimore. A lot of times when you got things going on like that, sometimes takes a few games to kind of, and I know a lot of people was looking to this year being their breakthrough year because they got receivers this year. Odell's there, but he's been kind of injured some, and Bateman, and of course you always got Mark Andrews, but something kind of hadn't been right. 5-6 games into the league, and Lamar Jackson got 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. That don't sound right. That seems like very pedestrian to me. And you would have thought he would have had more than that. But they are, 5-2, 4-2?
4-2.
4-2. So, despite how they may be playing, the offense kind of like giving you everything that you thought they were getting, they have still been good enough to still be in the front of their division. So I've done all that, talking to say this. I don't know who I'm picking in this game. I want to go. I would think the Ravens would go because I think that you can't go 2 weeks. I just can't see the Lions running the ball on them because I think David Montgomery is going to not play. So they're going to go at Jahmyr Gibbs. I know a lot of people, I know you as one that have expressed it to me that you're really not that high on how Detroit is employing or, deploying Jahmyr Gibbs. And it's almost like they're using him as like a change of pace back, and he kind of has skills to do all kind of things. So maybe this is the week they maybe open the open the cupboard and let him kind of eat a little bit, man. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna let you talk, and maybe I'll make up my mind with what you got to say.
Yeah, David Montgomery's out. Jahmyr Gibbs now steps into being the feature back tomorrow. Um, and it's like a mixed sorted opinion, because it's like, should they find ways to implement their first round pick into the offense more? Yeah. But at the same time, uh, do you really want him to be your bell cow, 25 carries between the tackles type of guy? I don't know. Maybe for a game, but we're gonna find out one way or another tomorrow. Because to me, if they're not able to establish the run on the road, and Jared Goff is dropping back 50 times, um, highly
Don't
increases the
don't
chances.
bode well for them, does it?
Yeah, highly increases the chances Baltimore can neutralize that offense, that very exciting young offense that Detroit has.
They
Um,
do. They do.
they'll have to figure out ways to get Jahmyr on the edges, be creative, which I think they're capable of doing in terms of their play calling, being creative, and then sort of finding ways to be effective in the run game without, you know, using him as a battering ram. Um, to your point about Baltimore, Baltimore still needs a receiver. I know I know you draft a guy, then you bring in a guy. They don't have a. I'll say this: DeAndre Hopkins would be a perfect type of receiver to sort of round out that group to me. You got this big possession receiver who can, make catches on the boundary and just bail out Lamar in a way that, you know, the diminutive size and stature of the receivers he has, just that's not their game.
Yeah, I forgot about Jay. I forgot about Zay Flowers. I forgot about him. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Those guys, they have plays that they run for those guys, you know, that highlights their best attributes. But if you look at the offense and they don't have the big guy, the 6'2", 6'3" guy that can just, separate and give Lamar an outlet. And I just think if they had that guy, or if they were able to acquire that guy and round out their receiver group, it would help.
yeah.
It would help tremendously. They're always going to be a team that tries to establish the run. I know there are talks about them potentially acquiring the running back, maybe from New York, maybe from Tennessee. We'll see. But as far as this game here, I guess I could say I'm a little torn as well, because emotionally I want to go with the home team, Lamar Jackson. Um, he's a winner. You know, they figure out ways to win as an organization, despite his struggles or the offensive struggles at times. So it's kind of one of those games where it's like, they're at home. Do I want to pick against Baltimore? I don't. But at the same time, Detroit is coming, man. They're exciting, on both sides of the ball.
Right.
They play a brand of football that's easy to rally behind. So J-Mo's back in the offense. He made a big play last week. I expect him to script more action for him. Amon-Ra St. Brown is really emerging and starting to break through as a young star at his position. They do a great job of getting the ball in his hands. Um, there's so many football reasons I want to take Detroit, while also understanding I kind of want to go with the safe play, um, and take Baltimore at home. So I guess I said all of that to be stuck in the same position as you. but but yeah, man, I would love to jump out on the limb, man, and go Detroit here. I really would, but I'm gonna stay safe. Maybe you will, but I'll stay safe and I'll take the home team.
Okay. Hey, I can't be mad at that pick because it's a pick that I wrestled with all week, man. The PFF guys couldn't pick this game. They were having trouble picking this game.
Yeah.
And all the other shows they having problems picking it. It's an evenly matched game. You know what's the spread? They got Ravens by 3.5. You get 3 points for being at home. So basically, it's almost like a pick 'em. You
Yeah.
know. Injury report. Marvin Jones is out. He's one of the Detroit's weapons. I mean, they go, Amon-Ra St. Brown, like you mentioned, the guys, and Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds, and then you got, of course, and God, what's the tight end's name, man? He's been a very good rookie this year. What is the kid's name from Iowa? Can't think of his name right now off the top of my head.
I believe it's Sam Laporta. I could be wrong.
Sam Laporta, that's him. Sam Laporta. He's having a good season too. And then Ben Johnson has been one of those offensive coordinators that seems to push all of the right buttons, man. I might have talked myself into picking the Detroit Lions. I might have talked myself into that. Because I really didn't have no pick when I came on the show today. I really didn't. I was gonna let you talk and let me kind of let that stuff marinate and see what I thought. I'm gonna go with the Lions, and we're gonna see. They're at home, they're on the road. Of course, now another factor, and people don't know it, but Jared Goff is the highest rated quarterback in the league right now. If you knew that,
I did not.
Yeah, he is right now. That thing is like it's somebody this week and somebody else the next week because you're only a bad game away from going from first to like eighth, or whatever on passer rating or QBR or whatever the metrics they use or whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that. But here's a factor that I didn't think of that Detroit, even though it's that's a dome team, they're playing outdoors in the elements in Baltimore. I'm not sure what kind of day that's going to be, if it's going to be wet, windy, or rainy, or any of that kind of stuff. It is getting close to November, and that's not going to be usually turf and dome teams don't do well outdoors in the elements. We're going to talk about that Sunday night game here in a little bit in regards to that kind of issue. And I think it's a factor. I still got Detroit, but that I could see how that might be a factor in Baltimore winning the game because they're in the elements. They're used to those elements. You got to adjust to them. So we'll see. I got the Lions, and we'll kind of see how that goes. But that's going to be probably the marquee game. I'm going to be watching that one all day tomorrow. All right. So you got that one, and then you got. The next game is sort of a so-so game. It's going to kind of determine who probably wins this division. You got the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both teams coming off of losses. The Falcons losing to the Commanders last week, whereas my man threw 3 interceptions, had his coach doing this. I don't know if you saw that. Arthur Smith did that on 2 of them because they were in the red zone. Falcons could have easily won that game. And he threw picks, man. But they put the ball in his hands like 40 some odd times. I mean, what did you thought was going to happen? And so it came down to the Commanders being able to stop the Falcons from running the football. So what they found out when Desmond Ridder throws the ball 25 times or less, and they can lean on that running game with Bijan, and I can't think of the other running back's name. His name's on the tip of my tongue.
Algier.
Yeah. Their offense is successful because they can run play action and do a lot of things. When that running game is not successful and they're in second and long and third and long, and you have him throw the ball 2 out of every 3 downs, you kind of see what happened. He's got some talent, but that was a game that if you had a good quarterback, they would have won that game kind of easily because they was in the red zone a couple times, right? And he just couldn't make the throws. And you got the Buccaneers who took a loss to the Detroit Lions, who we just talked about, and they was able to stop the Detroit Lions from running the ball, but unlike the Falcons, their quarterback was able to throw the ball 40, 50 times, and they was able to squeak out a win. So you might say the Falcons, when you look at all their skill position players, the changes and the upgrades that they've made on defense is basically, I don't know, maybe a good quarterback away from winning 10, 11 games. And are they willing to wait and see if Desmond Ridder is that guy or not? I know we've talked about it, that we not sure that's the guy. But what does that tell us for tomorrow? When they're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is a team I think defensively is a game that they play. Todd Bowles is a great defensive coordinator, a great defensive mind. They got defensive, good defensive personnel. I think some of the stuff that's been caught up with Baker Mayfield, not really a Baker Mayfield dude. I always kind of thought like, he can do some stuff, but eventually when you catch up the thing and make him make tight throws, you put pressure on him, he and there's a stat that shows that the off throws, they even got a stat for, these next generation stats. They got a stat that, the top 5 in the quarterbacks who have the most off throws, I guess it's the opposite of tight window throws. You got throws that are like most off-target throws. Baker Mayfield's in the top 10 of those. So where does that leave us? And Desmond Ridder is 0-5 on the road, 0-4 on the road. How many road games they've won? He's been in the league. He's not won a road game. That being said, I'm going to say, I guess I got the Buccaneers. Bucks are favored by 2.5. I guess I'll go with the Buccaneers. Maybe me and Baker Mayfield makes one less mistake than Desmond Ridder, and maybe they win. But don't get it twisted. I think the Falcons are the more talented team. I just think that on the road, an unsure quarterback. I got Tampa.
Going the other way.
Okay. Okay.
I did watch that game last week. Never a fan of head coaches, blatantly showing up the signal caller. There was a lot of that going on by Arthur Smith. I'm never going to be a fan of stuff like that. Ridder did make several deplorable mistakes, and it's no excuse for it. But at the same time, there has to be accountability from all sides. It was just kind of a little too much of that showing up your own player from the coach, in my opinion. But one thing they did do, and one thing they failed to do, they failed to establish Bijan last week, and that was a big reason why they lost. And on a positive note, they made a concerted effort to get Kyle Pitts involved in the game, something they've notoriously failed to do his first couple of years in the league. So them being able to establish him, get his confidence going heading into this week, I think that's a big deal. I think they'll obviously make a more concerted effort to get Bijan involved the way they had the first couple of games of the year when they were winning. I think they get back to that winning type of formula. And it's an in-division game. Both sides know each other well.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Atlanta's capable of putting together, a couple of exciting drives for touchdowns. They just have so much talent, man. Drake London's a really talented guy. It's kind of exciting to see him in a game against the Buccaneers opposite of Mike Evans, because it's kind of like doppelganger time. Like, hey, that's that guy on the other side. That's who we want you to grow into. We want you to become Mike Evans. But they picked up Van Jefferson to add to their receiver core.
I had forgotten that, but yeah, they did pick up Van Jefferson. They definitely did.
They did. I like to see them figure out ways to get Cordero Patterson involved. He was such a key cog of their offense last year. I know you go and get Bijan, and that's going to change, but he's still on the roster. He's still talented. So,
Very, very versatile. Very
yeah,
versatile.
yeah. I mean, they just have so many weapons at their disposal. If Ritter can just find ways to spread the wealth and be a game manager, because that's kind of what he is. Just be a game manager, make plays, utilize the talent that you have around you, and limit your mistakes, man. And if he can do that tomorrow, I think they squeak out a win. Um, to your point on the other side, never wish failure on any player or anything like that, but just I've never really been high on Baker Mayfield. Just haven't been. Um, their hot start to the year didn't really change that for me. It's just an interesting anecdote. Looked a little shaky last week. I watched that game. So
Yeah.
and that Falcons defense is revamped. That secondary is much improved, and as long as they're healthy, which I think they are this week, I think they'll pose some challenges for Baker. And yeah, neither team runs away and hides as far as the scoreboard is concerned, but I'll go on that limb and I'll say Atlanta figures out a way to make a play or two and get it done.
Okay. Not upset with that pick. I actually, as a fan, I kind of like the Falcons. I just, from a football perspective, I just see that I don't know that they can beat them. I just don't see it. But I think they got the talent to, and I'm hoping that they do because I think they got a nice, good young squad. So it's a thing where my head is saying, yeah, the Buccaneers are playing at home. Desmond's 0-5 or 1-6, whatever his record is on the road. Never won a road game, and had a good one to win when they were playing the Houston Texans and couldn't pull that one off a couple of weeks ago. And whatnot. But I'm hoping that the Falcons do win that because I kind of like their team. I like their team.
Yeah.
So if that makes any sense to you. So, but anyway, I got the Bucks, and we'll see what happens. You got the Falcons, and we kind of differ on that one. We're gonna see what happens, man. So we differed on like 2 games. I think you got the Ravens, and I got the Lions, and you got the Falcons. I got the Bucks. So them other 2, rest of them, we kind of going with the chalk with. So.
Yeah.
That concludes our 12 o'clock slot. Believe it or not, we didn't kind of whizzed our way through the 12 o'clock games, man. Now we go to the afternoon games. A lot of times those games usually are the better games. Some weeks are, some weeks are not. But at the 3 o'clock slot, I think this is a kind of a tasty game. The first one we're going to talk about, and it's the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Los Angeles Rams. And I can't really put a finger on the Steelers. I really can't. They kind of, you see them get the doors basically kicked off by the Houston Texans. And you're like, okay, you may as well just put a sock on them, And then you see them how they played against the Ravens, and they turned that thing around and got that win. And I wasn't expecting that at all. But you also know a Mike Tomlin team don't fold. They don't fold. Even though the thing may look bleak, somehow he's able to rally them guys, and they're able to put together a win that you didn't think was possible for them to have. So I've not really liked their offense. I think the offensive coordinator, not to quote PFF on a lot of stuff, but I know some of the stuff I like what they say. And the things that I agree with, I say, and the stuff I don't agree with, I kind of like, I don't use that. But they said this, it's almost like this team has to overcome the offensive scheme that they run. And it's like you got players that can overcome the scheme, but they just got to go do it. But the scheme kind of does hold them back a little bit, with the Matt Canada system. So I don't know. They're playing a Rams team that I kind of like. People better start paying attention to the Rams because Matthew Stafford is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and if what they found out is if he can get pass protection, he's got guys to throw that thing to.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp is back, and it's like he's back 2 weeks and got like 18 catches in 2 weeks. And and it's like, and I know, and like I say, everything is a Cowboy thing because we play them next week, right? And that was the thing I said on my video. I said, hey, this is the scouting report. And I don't know if y'all know this or not. I said, I'm gonna give y'all this for free, and this is for the Steelers too. Matthew Stafford likes to throw the ball to Cooper Kupp. Early, often. He likes throwing the ball to Cooper Kupp. So if you see Cooper Kupp running wide open in the secondary, maybe y'all didn't see the scouting report. He likes to throw to number 10. That dude, he throws to that dude when he ain't even looking at that dude. All right. And the rookie they got on the other side, he ain't too shabby. That dude got 50 catches. Puka Nacua got 50 catches. Are you kidding me? So the dude had 40 catches before Cooper came back, and it was like, yeah, okay, young buck, I got this now. You can sit on there on the side and kind of take some notes. I got this now. So in the last couple of weeks, he's got 10 catches, and over the last 2 weeks because Cooper, he's gonna go to Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp in the game, Matthew Stafford going to him. So if the Steelers know that or not, but here's the thing. The Steelers got a pair of pass rushers, man, that you got a Highsmith and TJ Watt, man, have like more what they call pressures than anybody else in the league. Okay. And that's going to be the litmus test. If they can get pressure on Matthew Stafford, yeah, he's got a penchant for throwing the ball to some places they ain't supposed to be in. All right. And then I read on the injury report, Kyren Williams, that promising rookie they got out of Notre Dame who ran for 158 yards last week against the Cardinals, out this week.
He's a rookie? I don't know if he's a
Yeah,
rookie.
Kyren Williams. I saw him play last year at Notre Dame. He's a stud, man.
Okay.
I think he's a rookie. I remember him playing at Notre Dame though. I thought he was a rookie. I could be wrong. But I thought he was a rookie. But I do know he played at Notre Dame. I remember him playing there. But they ran the ball quite a bit last week. He had 158 yards and I think a touchdown or two. So the thing is, the Steelers' offense is just anemic, man. They just can't seem to get stuff done. And so, as good as the defense is, I'm thinking if they can get pass protection on 2 or 3 drives, I think the Rams can score 14. I think they can win the game. 14-17. I think they can win the game. So, Rams are favored by 3, which is basically a pick 'em. You get 3 points for being at home. I got the Rams, but I'm not that solid on that. Not that solid. Should be a good game though.
It's a game I'll watch tomorrow. My thing is the Steelers, man. It's like the respect I have for Mike Tomlin, man. It's like it's always hard for me to pick against him.
Right.
But it's undeniable that offense has been atrocious. Granted, they're coming off a bye, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game, essentially.
That's a factor. That's a factor.
I don't care what you've been talking about scheming up. It should begin and end with get George Pickens the ball.
Yeah.
He's a star. You got to let him be who he is. Get him the ball. Target him heavy. Figure it out. On the other end, I mean, you got the single most disruptive defensive player in the league. That's what TJ Watt is. He's a wrecking ball. He changes games.
He does.
So, anytime you have a guy like that, it's like I want to give them a chance in any game, man. They elite coaching from Mike Tomlin and T.J. Watt put together, it's like, all right, don't count the Steelers out just based on those two alone. But I don't know, man. I could easily see them. They win in weird ways, man. But that's just what well coached teams are able to do.
Right,
They're able to win games that you probably don't think they should, and then the way they win them is quirky. That's a Mike Tomlin team right now. It's hard for me to pick against them because I just feel like, you know, T.J. Watt is able to strip sack Matthew Stafford, you know, and then, you know, if he's living in the backfield all day, it's like,
which is what he do.
yeah, it's like that's a possibility, and it's a realistic one. So it's just like I'm gonna take the Rams, man, but it's one of those picks. I know I could be looking at that game tomorrow, like, yeah, kind of can't predict. You know, the defense will score 2 touchdowns, but that's what happened.
Could very easily happen. Could very easily happen.
Like, yeah.
Lay some stats on you, man. For as good as Matthew Stafford seemed like he's been this year, he only has 6 touchdowns and 5 picks.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's made some nice throws, but he's thrown it to the other team a couple times too, and I think that comes with pressure. When his pass protection is broken down, he, like I said, has a penchant for throwing it to the other guy sometimes. You know, and on the other side, Kenny Pickett, you know, stats almost look comparable to him: 5 touchdowns and 4 picks. You know, thousand yards versus 1,600 yards. And their completion percentage is almost like the same or whatever, or larger sample size with Matt Stafford or whatever. But yeah, it's an interesting game because I could see the pass rush if, like you said, if T.J. Watt and Highsmith can wreak havoc on that offensive line, I could see the Steelers getting a couple of defensive scores very easily, and that thing could get away from them. And I could see that if they could get, you know, good pass protection and whatnot, they don't need much. Cooper Kupp open every play.
7-11.
Yeah, he opened every play, you know. And every team I've seen them play when he got back, I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna get him because like they can't. It seems like, Dave, you can't cover that dude. I'm like, what are we doing here? You can't cover him. He finds a way to get open. So that's why I'm like, I don't know on this one. That's why it's a 3-point game, and I guess we're both going with the Rams, but we're both kind of looking at the game the same way. Because I think, like you said, T.J. Watt is a disruptor. If he gets, you know, he find a huckleberry on that offensive line, and I can get that guy, and it could be open season. And so the backup quarterback could be finishing the game.
Yeah, man, I'd be remiss to let this whole segment go by without mentioning AD, man. Hey, you know, AD is still AD. His name is still his name, man. So
yeah, Aaron Donald's still the cream of the crop of defensive tackles. You know, I was wanting to get a crown to Quentin Williams, but I still think it's AD. I still think it's him. You know, you always want to give it to the young up and coming young buck that's coming along, and I was, you know, maybe him or, you know, maybe DeForest Buckner or some of them other DTs that, you know, wreak havoc and stuff. But it's still AD, man. It's me until further notice.
yeah,
And,
you know, playing Pittsburgh, you know, his Pittsburgh connections.
right, he played at Pitt. Yeah, correct.
Having an elite guy on the other side could, you know, motivate him. All right, I can't let TJ show me up. So, you know, I think both of them guys probably wreak some havoc tomorrow.
Yep. Another side note on this. You know, the Steelers will be having a road home game in this game.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's funny too, man. It's funny too because Matthew Stafford gonna be having to quiet his own home crowd down if it's a tight game in the fourth quarter, so he can get a playoff. Steelers fans everywhere, just like Packer fans and Cowboy fans, they everywhere. So that's gonna be interesting right there. So yeah, we got the Rams. We'll move on. That should be an interesting game. Moving on, we got the Cardinals at the Seahawks. Look, man, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this game. I think the Cardinals, they play well, but they lose every game. Now, coincidentally, they have activated both Kyler Murray and Budda Baker. So they got a window to put them in games. I don't know what that means. Because, you know what? I mean, you put him in, 5-6 games this year, you might win 3 of them games. That might knock you out of the first pick. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
I think they've made and maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like they made a conscious organizational decision to, you know, we're not going to get into the tank for Caleb mentality. I respect it, you know, and that whole thing has always been a little disrespectful to Kyler Murray to me, because Kyler Murray is no scrub.
He's still there.
He's no scrub. Now, if you just decide you want Caleb Williams, I get it, but it's to me shouldn't be a slight to Kyler Murray in the process of doing it. And it's always hard to be so terrible that you get the number 1 pick. It's hard to tank in the NFL.
Yeah.
So, you know, respect to them for wanting to be competitive and see how the chips fall. They're going to lose this game tomorrow. I think they'll try hard and still lose, and maybe that's their.
They've been doing all year. That's what they've been doing all year.
Yeah. So, Geno Smith had a terrible game last week. I expect him to bounce back in a major way in this one. I got the Seahawks. I'm going to say big time, but
they're favored by 8.
It won't be in question.
You don't think? Okay. You don't think it'd be that much?
Yeah, it'll be more than that, in my opinion.
It'll be more. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The game won't be in question.
Okay. I can see that they're playing with the 12th man, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I can see that. So, yeah, we both got the Seahawks. I don't see the Cardinals. They, like you said, they'll try hard and lose by 2 touchdowns. So that's what will probably happen. So, next we got the Packers at the Broncos. Not spending a lot of time on this one either. The Packers had promised they were 2-1 at one point. Then they lost to the Falcons. Then they lost to the Raiders. Then they've been off for a week. Had some time to think about it. Broncos won a game last week. I think there was some funny business going on, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to break out my tinfoil hat on this show. Might even create me a channel just for tinfoil hat conspiracy stuff. But I'm not doing that on this channel. Okay. But there was a game. I thought there was some other stuff going on with and whatnot, and they was able to lose. What was it, 15-9 or some crap like that? No, 19-8. That's right. Ended up being exactly what the point spread was, and just a little bit more. So I was like, wow, okay. After all that, so you got the Packers. Like I said, they were looking at Jordan Love doing all this stuff. He had some nice games. The first 3 games, 2-1. They, like I said, lost to the Falcons. They was 1-0 or 2-0 and lost to the Falcons, and they lost a couple games since then. Didn't they lose to the Bears too? No, they didn't lose to the Bears. Who they lose to? Who they lost to? Who? The Lions. Right, the Lions. That's right, the Lions. And threw an interception late, trying to get it to Christian Watson through an interception. David Bakhtiari is going to probably out for the season. Left tackle, probably one of the better left tackles in the game. I would say he and like Trent Williams and a couple others, I would say, are some of the better left tackles in the game. And they he's that dude's been battling injuries last like 2 or 3 years, man. I always feel for dudes that, can't seem to, get the thing right, keep coming up with injuries after they, because it's a drag, man, to go through all that, go through all the rehabs and all that kind of stuff, and then I think of him. I think of what's the cornerback that plays for the Bills, Tre'Davious White. I think of him. I think Jamal plays for the Seahawks. Jamal Adams. I think of dudes like that, man. That it's like, damn, they can't get a break. And so I think that's going to be. And then you play it against the Broncos. Incidentally, man, Russ has some decent stats, man, for a team that can't seem to get nothing right, man. I think he got 12 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I'm like, really? I'm like, because you would have thought he's having a season like Daniel Jones, but he's really not, And if you hear all the stuff that's going on in the trade deadline, if you hear them tell it, every player they got is available for trade. Whether it's Simmons, Patrick Surtain, which they not trading Patrick Surtain. I'm just telling you right now, they fools if they trading Patrick Surtain, man. We the Cowboys, we'll take him. We'll give you a first round for him, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to give up a first round pick for him. But I'm saying that would be a guy I would give up a first round pick for, because you're not going to find a guy picking 28th or 30th in the draft that's going to be as good as Patrick Surtain Jr. or the second. But him, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, there's a couple of linebackers. I was like, dadgum, everybody on the dadgum block. So you got all that going. Packers are favored by a point. I think they'll win by a point. I just don't have a lot of faith in the Broncos. It seems like they don't seem to know what the heck they're doing. Offense seems defense is considered the worst in the league. I think the offensive players, the quarterbacks have got like a 70% completion percentage of throws over 20 yards or something like that. I read a stat. It's like every matrix you look at, man, they got like one of the worst defenses in the league. So I guess I got the Packers, but it's a game where it's got two teams. I guess you'll figure out where they're going. I don't think the Broncos are going anywhere, but if the Packers are going to do anything, but they're not going to win the division. The Lions got that division already won. That division is won already. They just don't know it yet. But I guess I got the Packers if I got to pick a team in this race.
Packers, I don't have a lot to say about it, man, honestly. I'm not at all high on the Broncos, as you know. And that doesn't change here.
So we both got Packers. I don't think it's going to be a very entertaining game either, but it could be. Sometimes you get fooled. All right, this one I got a 1-star by this one because it's a division game, and I think these two teams kind of go at each other. I think these two teams bring the best out of each other. You got the Los Angeles Superchargers at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, the Chargers always bring the best out of the Chiefs,
mm-hmm.
and vice versa. There's a subway back and forth between Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. Are you trying to upstage me? Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. There's a little rivalry there. I know it's a commercial, I know, but I think there's a little bit of rivalry there. They're in the same division. Chargers know if we got to get to where we got to get to, we got to get through these boys, right? We got to get through these dudes. If we're trying to get anywhere, we got to beat these guys. So I look for the Chargers to play a great game coming off of a loss to my boys, of course. Lost on Monday night. A game where Justin Herbert did not play well, missed a lot of open throws. He's getting a lot of pressure, but wasn't sacked but one time. But Chargers do have some talent, but it seems like they can't seem to put the offense together for some reason. Defense played well last week, but they have been playing kind of suspect all year. Had a week off, and they had a good defensive game, kind of sort of against my Cowboys last week in the lose effort. I look for them because of the animosity and they're playing a division foe that they play well. That every game they seem to play, it's always like one score game. Always comes down to a play or two at the end. The Chiefs kind of hadn't been playing that well lately, TK. And as we've said, I think it's a league-wide thing, man. Teams are playing teams for them to like nickel and dime their way down the field. And of course, that's the only way you're going to beat the Chiefs is to make them play that way. Make them go 6 or 7 yards and, make them have to go 2nd and 5, 2nd and 3 and get the first down and play umbrella coverages, make them beat you a death by 1,000 cuts instead of, and so they got McCole Hardeman back. Don't know if that's going to be a big deal or not. The Jets didn't seem to know how to use him. So he comes back, and it's a guy Patrick Mahomes knows the offense well. And maybe he'll have a leg up on Sky Moore and Rice and some of the other receivers who, maybe a little new to the system. And maybe that's what Patrick Mahomes might need. So I said all that to say, I think I'm pulling for the upset here, man. I got the Chargers winning this one. I usually don't pick against Pat, but they've not been playing that well this year. Defense kind of been keeping them in games. So there's always an upset every week that you don't think about. I think this might be the one this week. I got the Chargers winning this one. And I've never picked against Patrick Mahomes since I've been picking games, except when they play the Cowboys. This is the time. I think I got the Chargers this week.
I got Pat. Okay. And it's going to be a good one. One thing we know, the Chargers bring their A game when they play the Chiefs.
They do.
Yeah. So this will be one of the games of the week for me because it's going to be exciting. A lot of plays will be made in this game, and Pat hasn't had a vintage Pat game yet this year. It's happening tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm calling it.
4
touchdown, 5 touchdown Pat. That Pat is showing up tomorrow. And he'll have to because he'll be pushed by the Chargers. The Chargers are going to bring their A game. They're going to score. And they're going to be turned up. It's going to be a fiery environment. And, I got a good back and forth going tomorrow in that game. And give me Pat and Andy Reid over, Staley.
Staley and Kellen Moore. I got you. I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. I'm a Pat man.
Man,
I ain't mad. I ain't mad at that at all. All right.
That gives me like 38-34 vibes.
Okay.
Really good game.
38-35. Last team has it scores last. Yeah, it scores.
Really good game. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't say I'm mad at that. That's actually good. But we, like I said, we both gonna say it's a tightly competitive, an exciting game to watch. I bet.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be exciting.
And so we're gonna see what happens. But I got the Chargers against my better judgment. But you got to check the Chiefs, and we'll see what happens. Now, yeah, boy, Sunday night. Yeah, boy. We're looking for this one. If I thought 2 weeks ago the Cowboys and the 49ers was the game of the year, this is the game of the year too. You got the two Alabama boys, both number ones, bringing their respective teams, both coming in 5-1, coming to Lincoln Financial for the Sunday night game on NBC at 7:20. You got the Miami Dolphins against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I just love the side stories and all of the other things. You got a contrast of styles. You got an indoor team with both outdoor teams, but they both play in different climates. You got those two things going. You got an up and down team that likes to throw the ball in the air versus a team that likes to run the football. You got, two quarterbacks that played with each other and won a national championship together. You got those storylines going. Man, it don't get no better than this. And it's going to come down to a couple of things. Kind of sort of like when we were picking the Steelers and the Rams game, is going to come down to whether or not Tua can get pass protection. I'm going to tell you just like this. That boy get pass protection, man, this thing can get ugly quick. He get pass protection, it's going to get ugly quick, all right? Because there is nobody in the NFL that can cover Tyreek and Jalen Waddle if Tua got 2-3 seconds to throw. 3 seconds to throw. Nobody's covering them. I don't care if it's Darius Slade. I don't care if it's James Bradbury. I don't care who it is. You're not covering him if he got pass protection. Okay? So it's going to be the onus of the Eagles defensive line, and they are capable, with Jordan Davis, if he plays, Jalen Carter, Fletcher Cox, with them boys, they're capable of getting pressure. Okay. And so that's going to be the thing. If they're able to get pressure and make him throw a couple of picks, or make him all go off script a little bit, I think the Dolphins can be had. But if they can get some pass protection, and of course, that you got to fight the elements. I'm not sure what the weather report's going to be. It's Philadelphia, late October, probably going to be in the 50s. Who knows what the wind's going to be like, or if it's going to be rain or anything like that. When you play a team like Miami, those factors play into the whole scenario. Wow. Why couldn't they be? They've been playing in Miami. Why couldn't they been playing in Miami? And I was like, yeah, Dolphins by 17. Because I just think that they're just a different team in there. But this was going to be interesting, because I think when the Eagles get the football, I think they kind of played out of their element last week, which was kind of one of the reasons how they lost their game last week against the Jets. And they let Jalen throw the ball 47 times. What are we doing? That's not a recipe that cake can be made with, right? He needs to throw the ball 20, 25 times and get that zone read going with his running and his throwing and that whole thing. You don't know what they're going to do. He could run it. He could pass. That's the thing that makes Philly hard to play, makes them hard to stop. They get 4 and 5 yards on first down, then they got you at their mercy, because they can get 3 or 4 yards on second down. It's 3rd and 1, and you know what's coming on third down. You know what they're going to do, and you can't stop it, right? And so they had a drive last week where they had a 19-play, like 95-yard drive where they just grind you to powder. That's what they do. That's what they do. That's why that's hard to beat that team, because they can get you into that, getting you them 3 and 4 yards of play, and then you come up and then they hit AJ Brown over the top. That's how they get you, right? So that's why it's a contrast of style. So Eagles are favored by 2.5. So really, it's a pick 'em. It's a pick 'em. I want the Dolphins to win this game so bad. I could taste it. I want the Eagles. I want the Eagles going down so bad. Why do I feel like the weather's going to be a thing, and they're going to get pressure? It's going to be a 19-13 game, and the Eagles going to win. Why do I feel that?
Because that's exactly what's going to happen.
Why do I feel like that's what's going to happen?
Yeah, this game won't be what it probably should be in terms of all things even, good weather, good conditions. It's in Philly, late October. This is a game where Philly has the upper hand, and I expect them to use it. They're gonna run the football. They're gonna control and manage the clock. They're gonna use, home field advantage. They're gonna be methodical, and they're gonna do their best to not allow the Dolphins to make this a track meet. And so
Because they can't win a track meet with them.
they can't win a track meet with the Dolphins, but they won't allow it to become that.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Their ability to run the football is something that they will be able to do against Miami. So they're going to control most of this game. Miami's going to make a couple of pop plays because that's what they do. So you can't keep Tyreek and Waddle from getting behind you all game. They've consistently shown that. At some point, they break them open. And in this game, they'll do that. But for the most part of the game, Philly's going to control it. So if we're talking 24-21, 27-21, that type of game, a couple of pop plays from Miami, but for the most part, Philly manages to, do what they do best. And that front seven comes at you in waves. Philly's front seven comes at you in waves. And if there was a game where I'm a little concerned for Tua and his obvious health scares, and this is it. Because the way they're able to rotate guys in and out, Philly, and keep putting pressure on you throughout the course of a 4-quarter game, I'm a little concerned about that. I would feel better about Miami's chances if they can show they can establish the run. They don't have one of their, better playmakers in Arcane because he's injured.
Devon A-Chain.
And so, and it's like, I give a lot of credit to Mike McDaniels because he is adamant about establishing the run in order to set up those big pop plays. So it's not that I don't think they'll try to. It's just a matter of how successful they can actually do it. But I got Philly, man, and sucks, man, because the way that I would like for this game to play out, I don't think it's going to do that. So the hype is there for the game, but once they're in between the lines, man, I think this gets real hard-nosed, smash mouth style, control the clock. Becomes a football game, not so much of a highlight reel with a football game instead. So, yeah. Philly for me, man.
Go Philly. Going Philly. I'm going to go the other way, which you knew I was going to.
Of course.
Because I think here's a factor that nobody's considering. There's a guy on Philly staff named Vic Fangio.
Mm-hmm.
One of those, what I call old crankety defensive coordinators. I believe he's going to. I believe he's going to have a defense that's going to make them kind of like, force them to throw the football. Now, what is bothering me is kind of makes me pause a little bit. Xavier Howard is questionable. That's their best corner. Okay. I think Miami is kind of underrated defensively. Now they're not a bad defensive unit. I look for them to kind of like crowd the line of scrimmage and make them throw the football. That's because that's the only way they can win the game. Because if they got to sell out to do that, and they're gonna have to do that. And I think he's crafty enough to come up with some stuff. Maybe Jalen ain't seen yet. Maybe he ain't seen. Cause Robert Saleh had some stuff he hadn't seen yet last week.
I don't see it, man. I don't
A couple
think
of bad picks last week, TK.
I don't think Miami got the They don't
personnel.
have personnel on defense to force the issue. They can't stop Philly from running the football. They can't take Philly out of their strategy. That's the problem. Like it sounds good, but once Philly establishes the run, like they will, Miami doesn't have the forces to stop that. Man, they're not that type of defense. Um, so yeah, a lot of smash mouth gonna happen in this one, man. A lot of smash mouth, and I do think Miami will find ways to sort of neutralize the scoring potential of Philly's offense. So, as far as this game getting up into the 30s, I don't really see that.
No.
But they can't take Philly out of their game plan, man. So at home, DeAndre Swift is healthy and looking incredible. They got several backs to throw at you. Their offensive line's elite. We know what they do. Yeah, I'm firm on the Eagles. Fangio, he can't take them out of what they do, man. He can't take them out of their element, especially in their house. So nah, that's not the team for that assignment. But that offense is going to pop several times. Philly does have a good defense, but it doesn't matter who you are. Mike McDaniels is going to figure out ways to get Tyreek open and bust some plays off. It's going to happen to you. You just got to be able to survive it. So,
all right.
I think Philly survives it due to their actual scheme and style of play and being at home. Close game, exciting to a degree.
Mm-hmm. Much anticipated too. Much anticipated.
Yeah, the players involved, it sells itself. But Philly, man.
Philly. I got the Dolphins, man. I think they surprised some people. I think they and see, there's another thing that people haven't taken into the account. Lane Johnson's not playing tomorrow either. That's a big miss. That's a big out. That's a big out. And then because as soon as he went down in the Jets game, that's when they start getting pressure. That's when I believe 2 of his 3 picks came after that because he was getting pressure. He's having to make line adjustments now and stuff that he would never been made to do because his offensive line is like A1, probably the best in the league. But the dude that they put in place of him was not. But he ain't gonna be Lane Johnson. That's a Hall of Fame dude. As soon as he hangs him up. That's why I'm like, I think Fangio can create some pressure and create some stuff to give them a little something. So we're gonna see.
Yeah, but that's why you lean on your run game. That's exactly why. If you're missing an all-pro right tackle, you're more incentivized to manage the clock, run the football. I don't. Miami's rush defense shouldn't scare anybody, to be honest. So yeah. We on a different riff, so I'd like to see how it plays out tomorrow.
Y'all see how it plays.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna be laughing the next Saturday.
Yeah, somebody between the Chiefs pick and
that one, the Falcons, the Bucks, and the Lions and the Ravens. So we got a couple more games. Let's go and knock these 2 games out.
All
right. Monday night it's gonna be an interesting game. I think interesting because it's going to determine, whether a team gets back from a game that they should have won and they didn't, and a team that's really got to determine what the rest of their season is going to look like. You got the San Francisco 49ers at the Minnesota Vikings. Now, 49ers are favored by a touchdown, which, that's pretty smart because the 49ers are the better team. That ain't even up for debate to me. And you're facing a Vikings team without Justin Jefferson. So basically, you were going with Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne, and what's the other receiver's name? And you got Hawkinson, TJ Hawkinson, and whatnot. And, now, what's going to be interesting to me is whether or not if Debo plays and Christian McCaffrey plays. I think Williams is going to play the left tackle. He's going to play. That's major, but it's a little ankle thing. He's okay, but McCaffrey has an oblique. That's when your side has got ligaments or whatever, just stretched or whatever and stuff, man. There's a lot of stuff you can't do. That's a pain tolerance there that you got to deal with, and you always getting hit. You're a running back. You get hit on every play, right? And then I think it was a shoulder on Debo. I think it was a shoulder, from my perspective. And so that's going to be a matter of whether I'm trying to pull up the injury report. That's what I'm trying to do here. I can see who. And you can go ahead and take the lead on that while I'm trying to pull up this injury report.
Yeah, it's prime time Kirk against an elite defense.
Factor too.
There's no way Minnesota's going to win this, in my opinion. Whether or not Brock Purdy has his best talent available will kind of determine the margin of victory to me. But if he comes in there without those two guys, I think they just, because they've had a chance to actually script and they didn't lose those guys in game like they did last week, they'll be able to prepare and script a successful formula for him. Probably be a lot of George Kittle involvement, if those two guys can't go. But I think they'll be able to do just enough. Just enough in that scenario. If they don't have C-Mac and Debo, maybe Brock Purdy, can you give me 2 scoring drives? If you do that, you get a couple field goals, we're getting out of here with a win. And I think that's kind of where their formula goes if they don't have those two. And if they do have those two in any way, you win the game. It's that simple. There's no Justin Jefferson on the other side. And this is the wrong defense to run into without your best talent. So really no scenario, in my opinion, where Minnesota wins, but it's just a matter of the margin of victory for San Francisco, and that'll be determined by the availability of their players. Okay. Minnesota hasn't really shown me anything that makes me think they have much of a chance on Monday.
The only thing they show me is that they've got an ability to keep every game close. Okay. That's all I've gotten from them is that they have an innate ability to keep all the games like close to 1 score game, here, there, whatever. So, and this kind of sucks because I think if Justin Jefferson plays, this could be a good game to watch.
Absolutely,
it'll be a good game to watch. But without him. Oh, they're playing at Minnesota. That's what was going to make it maybe look closer than maybe 2 touchdowns. So I got the 49ers by like 10. And I can't really see Minnesota winning that game. Like I said, if JJ was playing, I was like, yeah, man, I think they can go up and down the field and whatever. There'd be some nice plays in this game or whatever because but I don't see it. I got the 49ers by about 10 points. All right, we got a Thursday night game on the next Thursday. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. We're going to get on out of here. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Buffalo Bills. I don't see no way where the Buffalo Bills don't beat them by at least 2 touchdowns. You playing in Orchard Park, in the elements. You playing in, it's going to be, it'll be close to November. Be close to November in Buffalo. Dude, that's not a place you'd be wanting to play. And Buccaneers they're a nice feel-good story for the season. I mean, they're a nice feel-good story. Baker get another chance on another team. They're actually playing fairly well, but they have not played an elite team yet. And Buffalo is sort of an elite team. Okay. and they're playing them at their place. So I don't see in a scenario outside of Josh Allen going down with a turned ankle or Stephon Diggs having a hamstring, something. I don't see no scenario where they don't win. So I got the Bills, and probably not even going to be even close. So I got the Bills.
Yeah, the thing with the Bills, man, is the Jekyll and Hyde stuff. So it's like, in theory, could they boat race Tampa? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Could they also come out there and give us a 17-13 type of game? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They
it's
did
like,
that. They did that in London.
yeah. I really don't want to predict Buffalo blowing a team out right now because of just how up and down they are. But as far as them being at home and getting the victory, I'm right there with you. Yeah, they get the victory, but how they do it,
That's to be determined.
yeah, they a little too shaky at times for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be 38-10 or it could be by a field goal. It's kind of where they're at right now.
Yeah. You making a lot of sense there, TK. You making a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Cause they went over to London and kind of like wet the bed, and then they came back, and I'm like, oh yeah, they finna let the Giants know what time it is, and like, no, you kind of didn't, and and I'm kind of like, okay, usually when a team that's that talented, um, gets a close scare like that, then I'm like, yeah, coach is gonna get in somebody's rear end, and they're gonna get that stuff right. That's kind of where how I grew up. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, I think also the game tomorrow determines that you coming in off a short week. So let's say you know dismember the Patriots and do them really bad. Could I then see them turning around on a short week and having a shaky performance? Yeah, I could. You know, go in there, you pound on the Patriots. I know they love every chance they get to stick it to Bill and establish, this is our division now. Y'all had y'all's turn, all of that. And then
right,
you coming in off of the high of doing that to the Patriots and then you put up a stinker against Tampa. We probably still win because you're at home, but it's like, I could definitely see that happening. So,
yeah,
one thing I give them, again, not to disrespect Baker Mayfield, but that's also him coming off a short week. And I have them losing tomorrow. So that's coming off a loss on a short week. I can see Baker throwing it to the wrong team a couple of times in this game.
only two.
I would keep it right there.
Only two times. Okay. Shoot, somebody's made some improvements. Somebody been in film study. All right, I gotta leave that alone. But that concludes our pick section for the day, man. That's some good picks, man. That's good analysis. We're gonna see how that turns out tomorrow and Monday and next Thursday, how it all comes out. I'm need my tally sheet so I can kind of keep track of who. But we're pretty much on the same page on all of them except the Eagles, Dolphins, Chargers, um, Chiefs, and Falcons, Buccaneers, and Ravens, Lions. Everyone else, we pretty much on one accord on. So it's them 4 games that's going to determine, who had a good week and who didn't. So pretty much whatever other we did, we have the same week because we picked the same teams. So we're gonna see how that go. But anyway, that's it for this week, man. And we bid all of y'all a happy football watching Sunday. And don't take these days for granted because I'm gonna tell you something, man. In a puff, it'll all be gone. and it'll be like January, and you'll be wishing you had football. So enjoy these Sundays. After you do whatever you do in the mornings, go to church, whatever you do, come home, kick your shoes off, and watch you a good game and enjoy that. And then kick it, and then check in with us on the next Saturday and see how your picks went against ours. That's what you do. Any parting words there, TK?
Man, same as always. Everybody enjoy the game, man. Enjoy the sport like we do.
Enjoy while it's here. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I got. Please like, comment, subscribe to the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. We'll catch you guys next Saturday for our Pick'em show for Week 8. God bless.